All right, everybody. Thank you for coming. We're going to get started. There'll probably be a few more people that stream in here, but I want to get started on time today. My name is Patrick Corbett. Welcome to the 13th annual Design for Drupal and our October webinar. I'm the CEO here at Redfin Solutions. I'm joined by Leslie Glynn, who also works here at Redfin, and we're both volunteers for Design for Drupal. And we're going to have Leslie go through some introductions in just a moment. But for those of you who have not been to a Design for Drupal event, this event is dedicated to design, UX, and front-end development for Drupal websites, as well as the business and process challenges facing Drupal teams. And we're typically an in-person event, of course. We're holding our monthly webinars now, but we anticipate to be back in person in Boston, hopefully next year in the summer. So keep that in mind. We're going to continue holding monthly webinars on various Drupal and design topics in place of the in-person sessions. And this year we'll have a keynote that we had already, and we have a new speaker today who I will introduce in a little bit. But for now, let's have Leslie handle some introductions.
Thank you, Patrick, and welcome everyone to the October webinar for Design for Drupal Boston. Today, our webinar is on taking Drupal Layout Builder to the next level, leveraging contrib add-ons for enhanced site building, governance, and theming. DannyEnglander will be presenting. He's from Bixel Solutions Incorporated. And you see his Twitter and his Drupal.org information on the slide, which we will share at the end of the presentation. So welcome, Danny. Just want to let folks know that might not have been on these webinars ongoing. Our 2021 keynote was with Preston So. Preston did a great presentation on voice content. Does your content speak for itself? Preston is the author of the book, Voice Content and Usability from a Book Apart. So I invite you to check that out or check out the recording. If you go to Design for Drupal and look at our YouTube channel, you will see Preston's recording there. So that was a great keynote for this past June. Ongoing Drupal contributions, we encourage everybody to contribute to Drupal, to the Drupal project. There's many Slack channels, some of the ones of interest to the UI front-end audience. The hashtag admin UI, that's for the Claro, the new admin theme. D9 theme is for the new Olivero theme that'll become the default out-of-the-box theme for Drupal core in Drupal 9. Then there's Easy Out of the Box, which is an initiative that is trying to get a lot of the difficulties with new folks, looking at Drupal, evaluating Drupal, or using Drupal for the first time. So that's an initiative that's trying to make it easier for folks to install it and to start using Drupal right away. And then there's the Project Browser, which is an initiative that myself and Chris from Redfin are associated with. So those are some things you can look at with, front-end UX, UI, accessibility. Everybody is needed. Don't have to be you don't have to know any code. You can just be a designer. You can just want to contribute to documentation, testing, accessibility, anything. So feel free to check out those channels and say you're there looking to contribute to help out. Our upcoming webinar series, I have been very busy and have not had a chance to find folks for November or December yet. So if anybody has any good leads, insights into who might be, good speakers for us, please reach out at boston@designfordrupal.org. We will have speakers, but I just have to, we'll announce them. We'll send out social media as soon as we lock folks into those two spots. We need your help. We need volunteers to help run Design for Drupal on a monthly basis for the webinars and, for the actual in-person event, which we hope to hold in June or July of, this coming summer. So reach out again to Boston@designfordrupal.org. Can just be a little bit of help. It's not a huge time commitment, so reach out if you have any questions about volunteering with us. Community events. So the next big community event is DrupalCon North America, which is going to be in person in Portland, Oregon in April 25th, 28th of 2022. Right now, session submissions are open. So and I think they're only open for another week maybe. So if you have ideas for that, they're also looking for volunteers. So, and they're looking for sponsors. So look at that next DrupalCon. Some other local, or not really local, but some other community events. Drupal Camp New York City is online October 28th to 30th. I believe they're still trying to do a few in-person social events, but the main conference or camp is online. Drupal Camp Oslo is also online. That's the same weekend, October 29th and 30th. New England Drupal Camp is November 19th. That was going to be in person, but the organizing committee, which I'm on, decided to make that online and virtual as well, just because things are kind of still in flux with the whole COVID. And the other thing is, if you haven't already, please join the Drupal Association on Drupal.org. The Drupal Association, helps keep the infrastructure. They do a lot in terms of initiatives and keeping the Drupal project going. So consider joining that effort. There is a community events page on Drupal.org. It's drupal.org/community/events. I mentioned 3 or 4 events, but there's a lot of events going on. On this page, you'll see the upcoming camps, local meetups all around the globe. So I know somebody joined from Switzerland today. There'd be, if there was any local meetups anywhere in Switzerland, they would be on here. Upcoming trainings. So this is a good resource for you to go to just to find out what's going on. It's a one-stop shop where you could just say, I want to go to an online meeting about this front end or some accessibility. You can go here and find out. There's accessibility talks as one of the local meetups there. So feel free to check that out. The code of conduct, this is a virtual event today, but we do expect everybody to adhere to the Drupal code of conduct. You'll see it in the footer of our designfordrupal.org website. We don't anticipate any issues, but if there are any issues, please reach out to myself or Patrick with any concerns. And I just want to take 1 minute to thank our digital sponsors who helped with all these webinars throughout the year. Atten Dev Collaborative, Talking Drupal, Acquia, Esteemed, Kalamuna, Evolving Web, Canopy Studios, Pantheon, 108 Degrees, McPhee Design. So thank you to all of them. Anybody else that would like to become a sponsor, again, feel free to reach out to us. Spread the word about today's event. Our hashtag is D4D Boston. And thanks for joining us. There'll be a Q&A session at the end. The chat feature is going to be turned off. So if you could use the Q&A tab to ask any questions, Danny will answer those questions at the end of the presentation. And without any further ado, I'm going to turn it over to Patrick to introduce Danny in today's webinar.
Yeah, last but certainly not least, today's presenter is DannyEnglander. Danny has been working with Drupal since 2009 and is currently a senior front-end developer at Bixel Solutions, where he specializes in front-end development, theming, and site building. Danny is a contributor, learner, and teacher, and has presented on a number of topics, including Netlify CMS, Layout Builder, and custom symbol fonts. Today, he will be speaking to us about Layout Builder and how we can better leverage it and its supporting contrib modules. I'd like to turn it over to our speaker now, DannyEnglander. Danny, welcome to Design for Drupal.
Yeah, thanks, Patrick. I really appreciate it. And thanks, Leslie, for having me here today. And I just want to thank everyone who's come out to see this presentation. If you attended my Layout Builder presentation at Drupal GovCon last week, this is a little bit different. I'm going to go more into depth with add-ons and how to enhance Layout Builder. That was more of an introductory session. So let's get right into it. I will present my screen here. Okay, great. Okay, so today we are I'm presenting Layout Builder, leveraging add-ons for enhanced site building, governance, and theming. We're at Design for Drupal, October 20th. All right, and before I get started, I just wanted to highlight two causes that I am very passionate about. Stop AAPI Hate, which is Asian American Pacific Islanders, and also Black Lives Matter. So those two websites here, stopaapihate.org and blacklivesmatter.com. I've donated a number of times to these two causes over the last year, and so maybe check those out. Okay, so who am I? Danny Englander. I live in Boston area, Boston, Mass. We just moved here from California a few weeks ago, so that's why it sounds a little hollow in here, because I'm in an empty apartment essentially waiting for the moving truck to show up next week. So I just have like a temporary setup here. Hope it's okay. I'm a senior front-end Drupal developer at Pixel Solutions Incorporated. Social media, Danny_Englander, and that would be for like Twitter and Instagram. And I also have a Drupal blog, DannyEnglander.com. And I've been writing about Drupal on that website since the Drupal 6 days back in 2010. So I'm on 11 years with blogging about Drupal, which is a lot of fun for me because it kind of codifies everything and I learn from writing things down. So I really, really enjoy, writing those posts about Drupal. Okay, so today we're going to cover a number of things. So first, we're going to look at the Gin theme, which is the kind of the latest admin theme in Drupal, and Gin Layout Builder, which is basically customizes the Gin theme around some of the Layout Builder UI elements. So we'll get into that. We're going to look at Layout Builder styles, which can add predefined classes to sections and blocks in Layout Builder. So that comes in really handy for theming, giving your content editors power to change styles in a meaningful way, but yet there's governance in terms of what styles they can add and whatnot. Layout Builder Modal, which really helps editing blocks in the Layout Builder UI. Layout Builder Restrictions, which is a governance plugin. And so you can restrict what elements someone can add in the Layout Builder UI, depending on what you've set there. Layout Builder Component Attributes is a nice little contrib module, which you can add IDs, data, tags, or inline styles if you want. And I'll be showing you that. That comes in handy for developers who maybe want to add a one-off style to a block where Layout Builder styles might not be appropriate for that instance. Layout Builder Library allows for different layouts predefined that content editors can choose from in a select list on an entity edit page. So for example, if you're on a node edit page, the content editors can choose from a select list, for different layouts. And I'll show you an example of that as well. Layout Builder Advanced Permissions, that basically takes every single possible element that you could do in Layout Builder and assigns a permission to it. So it's pretty powerful, and I'll show you how that looks as well. Layout Builder Operation Link is just a tiny little module which adds a layout link when you're on the main content admin page where you have those edit buttons for each piece of content. So it adds a little link if layout overrides have been allowed for a certain entity type. Then you see that little layout button edit. And also entity view, which is becoming one of my favorites. That's through the ctools contrib module. And entity view, basically what it does is it allows you to have a wrapper around a set number of fields using a view mode. So it's a very clever way of having a wrapper around some layout builder elements. And there's actually an open issue for core right now, which is saying, yeah, hey, it would be great to have a wrapper. So imagine a field set, if you will, and you indent things, and then you have that wrapper. Well, entity view does that. So in a sense, it's kind of a workaround, but it works really well. And I'll show you that as well. I apologize, this slide should have gone before the other one, but Bixel is hiring. We have 51 open jobs right now, so check that out. Okay, so here we are. Here's the main Gin theme layout builder setup. So as you can see, it's very minimal and clean. And I've enhanced it a bit with some custom CSS. So basically, I took what Gin Layout Builder and the Gin theme give you, and I've added some additional CSS, and I'll show you that live in the demo. But basically, at the top, you have you have these checkboxes for regions. You can click Preview. You can save your layout, and then there's like a little gear icon on the right, which gives you even more options. So Gin Layout Builder moves all these things up here. And so it creates a very sort of clean interface in combination with the Gin theme. And Layout Builder modal. So here on the left, what I have on the left here before this green arrow here is what content editing for a block looks like normally in that narrow sidebar region, that kind of off canvas region. But when you add Layout Builder modal, then it's almost like a full-fledged edit screen. So that's really nice, and that comes in really handy. So not everything is all crammed together like this on the left. So we end up with something like this on the right. Layout Builder styles. So those are those predefined styles that you can put for certain blocks or elements. And they're also can be controlled with, to a certain degree, with Layout Builder restrictions, which is nice. And I'll show you an example of that as well. We have Layout Builder component attributes. So basically, this allows for a custom ID, custom class, custom data attribute, and it also allows for inline styles. That's not shown here because I didn't allow it. I didn't allow it in my my little test theme, my little demo theme. But you do have these, and I'll show you how that's controlled as well. So this would be good for developers, to say, let's say you have a block with a hero, you could put in a hero class here. But you could also do it in a template as well. So it just depends. This might be good for site builders. Okay, and Layout Builder operation links. So if you're on a content listing page, the main content admin page, you get this little layout icon along with the edits and other actions that you might have. And so that's if a piece of content, or let's say that's for an entity, that allows for Layout Builder overrides on a per entity basis. You'll get that layout link. And advanced permissions, as you can see here, Accessio is the name of my theme. So you can see here there's a number of, it basically targets anything that could possibly go into Layout Builder, and it adds a permission to it. So here I have a content editor role, and I've set some various permissions of what that role can add in Layout Builder. Entity view basically is that wrapper I was talking about. So for example, you might have a profile card within some other fields in Layout Builder. So it creates that wrapper. So it makes theming a lot easier to do with that. And I'll show you that example as well. And you can see here there, this is an example of Twig template output with the Twig template debugging enabled. And you can see there's plenty of choices for templates as well. Okay, live demo, here we go. Okay, so let's take a look. So here we are. I'm going to go to the appearance page. So you see here, you have your Gin theme. And if I go to settings, there will be, a bunch of options there. So you see for Gin, you have a bunch of settings. And if I go, then I'm going to go to the, layout builder Gin settings, and there's not much there. It's just if you want to load Toastify from the CDN, and Toastify is a way of popping up messages in a little window, a little tiny bubble. And so those are kind of nice. So there's not a lot to layout builder settings, but I just wanted to show you that. I'm going to go to layout builder styles now, and I'll show you that. Okay, so layout builder styles, what it does is it adds a select list or checkboxes to a block UI for choosing pre-selected classes. So when it says component, that's for the actual individual layout builder block, a component, if you will. A section is a layout builder section, which might contain components within. So for example, I have mobile stacking order left, first, right, mobile stacking order right, first, left, and then left. And you can see here that you get the layout restrictions, which is really nice. So for example, this stacking order, I would only want for my 2-column layout because I don't need it for 1-column. But for 2-column, I want to specify what the stacking order might be on mobile. So that comes in really handy. So I've only, allowed for 2-column here. So that's really, really, really nice. Let's take a look at layout builder modal. So I'm going to go to that settings page. And layout builder modal, we have some configuration here. We have the width. We have height, auto resize, and then you can choose the admin theme. Now notice Gin or Claro is not in here. Oh, and I should mention Gin is actually a sub-theme of Claro. So I think there's an issue open for layout builder modal to allow, more themes. Ideally, I would want the Gin theme in here, but for now I'm using 7, and I've customized it a little bit to make it look decent. Okay, and let's take a look at layout builder restrictions. So if I go to the extend page, you'll see there's a couple options there. And I'm just going to open up the content type as well. Landing page, manage display. Okay, so here we are on our extend page for our modules. And you can see you have your layout builder restrictions. And there's also another option, layout builder restrictions by region. So again, there's a lot of governance going on there. And if I click configure, you can see here that plugins kind of register themselves here. And this comes checked automatically. Basically, this setting says, yeah, allow to restrict blocks on a given view mode. So now I'm on a view mode. I'm on the default view mode for my landing page. And you can see here, we have our restrictions here. So we have our usual settings up here, or, use layout builder, allow each content item to have its layout customized, but then we have our restrictions. So you can see here, we have a ton of settings. And what I've done is I've created a very minimal interface by restricting the layout builder UI to only certain things. And if I show you that here, oh, and you can also restrict regions. So let me collapse that. So you can restrict regions that can be used or templates that can be used. So here I've allowed for 1 column, 2 column, the bricks layout. So that also comes in handy with layout builder restrictions. And let's go back to the UI page. So this is your main layout page. Now there's nothing here right now because for this content type, I've kind of done it as a blank canvas, and I'll show you that how it's being done on the individual node level. So let's see here. We want, oh yeah, I want to show you layout builder library now. So I'm going to go to layout library. So layout builder library allows for custom layouts to be preset. So content editors can choose from these in the edit UI for an entity. So you can see here, I have a layout in here set up. And this is like this is kind of like what I'm calling a starter layout. So I can click the preview button and I have all this stuff going on here, and somebody can choose this and it'll get them started with a whole bunch of content right off the bat. So you can see here, I have a CTA, I have a quote component, I have a media video component. I have an image component with a caption. I have some people cards that I've themed here, and I have some statistics, and I have this hero. So that's how that looks. And what's really cool about this is that when you add a block to this, it serializes the data. So I think I can show you that in Git. So I'm going to show you. So if you look here, this is in my Git client fork, and you can see here that data from layout builder library gets serialized. So it's kind of cool in a way. If you've ever used the default content module, it kind of does this in a similar way. So it kind of gives you some content right off the bat, which is really nice. So I will collapse that. And I've showed you the advanced permissions, the operation link. All right, so let's go to our demo, our main demo. So I'm going to go to this landing page, and I'm going to click on edit. And as you can see, there's almost no fields with this. There's a title, and I have a couple UI settings like edge to edge width, visually hide title, as you know, the title ends up being in the hero. And I also have a starter page layout that I can choose from. So if I view this page, you can see here that we have a very different landing page style-wise than what I just showed you. And that's because I'm using some UI settings here. So let me show you that in the editing. Okay, so if I go here, oops, I just want to reload this, I guess. Well, I don't see my edit links right now. Maybe, here they are. Okay, good. So I can manage attributes. So this is that layout builder component attributes. So you can put in an ID, a class there. If I configure this, let's see, I'll just reload this. Okay, there we go. Okay, so we have our statistics block, and you can see here we have our layout builder styles. So I said title centered full width, and then I choose this turquoise background color for this, for these statistics. And then within here, I have entity construction kit entities, but you could also use paragraphs in here. I believe there's a patch for paragraphs that will allow this to work without error in this. So I just happen to have custom entities via entity construction kit in here. So I can choose the color. And this is, everybody always asks me this. This is from the Drupal color field module. So these colors, and I've kind of customized the tiles. And I have my layout builder styles here. And then I can kind of reorganize these if I want. I can update. And I can click the preview button here. And we can see here the new order. I also can click the regions, and that tells you the region from the layout builder template. So I can click the preview. I can also click here, and this gives you some other options for things. So you can see here we have save layout, discard changes, revert to defaults. So because this is an overridden node, you could click this to revert to the defaults. And we have our preview. And then I'll show you some other things here. So we have a FAQ block, which is basically an accordion. So again, I have more entities from Entity Construction Kit in here that create the accordion. And I have titles centered for the classes. And then what I'm going to show you down here is if I click configure on this section, you'll see here I have that mobile stacking order that I showed you. So I could say I want it, the stack, left on top of right or right on top of left. And I can do that. Now, if I go up to this region, you'll see here that I don't have that because of the layout builder restrictions we worked on. And speaking of that, if I add a block here, you'll see that we have a very clean interface here. So I can create a custom block, and via layout builder restrictions, I've said, I only want these blocks to appear here. Now that's opposed to if I go over to layout library, which we don't have layout builder restrictions in layout library, because typically you would just have an admin person setting that up. And so therefore you wouldn't really need the restrictions. So if I go to edit layout here in the layout library and I do add block, you can see here we have pretty much everything possible in Drupal. So you can see here, this could be potentially overwhelming for a content editor. So that's why it's really nice if you're over here and you add a block as a content editor, you get this nice clean interface. So that's because of layout builder restrictions. So the other cool thing is, so let's say I add a new landing page. I'm going to call it test landing page. And the settings, I'm going to say edge to edge width, visually hide title. And now I'm going to save, and we'll probably end up seeing a blank page. Yep. So we have a blank page, but what I can do here is via layout library, I can say, well, I want this starter layout. So I'm going to click save. And now we have this instant layout that we can, build upon or alter or edit. So it gives us like a starter layout, which would be probably nice for a content editor. So because I'm allowing overrides, I can actually edit this new layout. And so, for example, let's say I wanted to change the image for this. I have my media tab here, so I can get rid of this and I can add media, and we're using media library, which is in core. So we have a bunch of images here. So I'm going to say, let's use this image. And by the way, all these images are from Unsplash. They have some great images that are, royalty free and free to use. And so I'm going to update this. And now we can preview. Note that I didn't need to save it, but we now see our new image there. So even with the preview, so I could save this. And if I go back to the layout, I can also, revert back to the defaults. So I'm going to say revert to defaults, revert. See, and now we will get our original image that comes from layout library. So that's how that works. So really nice in terms of, doing different kinds of layouts and offering starter layouts to content editors. The other thing I'm going to show you is I have this person content type. Okay, and this is using Layout Builder in a very different way. So this time I do have fields on the layout. So if I go to content types and I go to person, manage display. So if we look at that, you'll see here. So as opposed to a blank canvas, we have these two things here, these two blocks, and they're both entity view. And basically what it does is it says, use this view mode profile card for a profile node. And here I say, use this person info view mode here. So then in those view modes, this is a little bit tricky. So you see here, I have those view modes and I've set in a traditional Drupal way of what fields I want in those view modes. So I've set my fields there. And for profile card, I've set my fields there. So if we go back to this, you can see because of that entity view with CTools, I'm able to have a wrapper around this whole thing and theme it as one thing. So if I inspect this, I'll show you my code. Hopefully you can see it. I'll make it bigger. So if I make this bigger, you can see here I'm using BEM styling, block element modifier. And so what I've done is I'm basically wrapped this in one big thing. And I'm calling it, profile card. And then I have my wrapper where I set the background color. So that really comes in handy. Now, the other thing I can do here, and you can see here, you're theming these view modes, these entity views, just like a node. So the template is node -- person -- profile -card. So essentially, I'm just theming a node within a node because of the view mode that's brought in Layout Builder. So the other thing I can do is if I edit this, I can say, well, I want a different layout. And in this content type, notice there's no layout tab. So we're not allowing content editors to edit the layout. But what I can do under settings is I can say reverse layout. So now I'm going to save it. And now we have the image, the profile card on the other side. So as you can imagine, you could really go to town here with quote unquote preset layouts from layout library that, content editors could use without even having to go into the Layout Builder UI. So that's really nice. And I think that's it. I think the timing is just about right to start to open up to some questions. I'll just get back to my presentation here. So we did the live demo, and I have some resources in this presentation for various different things. And I just want to thank everybody for coming out today. I really appreciate it.
Thanks, Danny. You covered a lot of info there, so I want to make sure people have a chance to ask their questions. And I've got a couple for you right now. The first one comes from Troublemaker John Picozzi. John wants to know, does a layout builder styles module come pre-configured with styles, or do you have to configure those styles manually?
Yeah, you'd have to configure them manually, and they do go into Drupal configuration as a standard thing. So yeah, you would just configure those manually.
And second question from John, is the preview functionality and the clean editing of the content coming from the Gin admin theme or the Gin layout builder module?
Kind of both. Some of it is from the Gin admin theme, and then the Gin layout builder module adds some additional styling for the layout builder UI page. Plus, in this case, I've added some custom CSS as well.
Great. I don't have any other questions active right now. There is one in the chat, I am told. Here we go. Is there any module that makes the content types or custom entity available in Layout Builder?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
Yeah, because they might need to clarify too. The question specifically is there any module that makes the content types or custom entities available in Layout Builder?
Oh, yeah. Well, out of the box, Layout Builder will handle just about any entity type, like content types, taxonomy. You'll end up seeing, that option to switch to Layout Builder for the display. However, I think I remember seeing a contrib module where it was like something like Layout Builder everywhere. And so I think it does add a few extra options for Layout Builder where it might not always be available, but out of the box, it's available for all different entity types. So you can really go to town, even media entities, it's available for as well.
Another question, how is the ECK working with custom block types, or is using ECK right away as a block entity construction kit is ECK?
Yeah, ECK entity construction kit. So basically, maybe I wonder if I should share my screen again.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, let's do that.
You've got time.
Yeah. Okay, so if I go over to, I'll go over to my content type, and well, actually, let's go to the block. Let's go to the block types themselves, because I think that'll shed a little more insight. So I have my custom block types that we're using in Layout Builder. So for example, the statistics was using entity construction kit. So here I basically have that background color, and then I have this entity reference to the entity construction kit entity. So in other words, I'm referencing the stats item here. So if I go to ECK, here we are. If I go to ECK, you'll see here I have that stats, and I can edit that. And whoops, I think I have to do bundle list. Yeah. So I have that bundle. So you kind of really have to dig kind of deep for all this. So basically I have a description and an icon. And then if we go back over here, you'll see I'm bringing in that stats item into this custom block type as a field, almost like you would reference, a paragraph. It's the same paradigm in a sense. So in other words, you can reference that, and then in Layout Builder, you get that very nice, if I go back over to landing page, manage display. So if I go back over here and manage layout, actually I have to go to my content type, or my content item. And so if I go to layout and we go to our stats, now it looked like I was having some issues with the contextual links. That was not happening when I practiced. Maybe if I reload it. Okay, so here we are. we configure this. So now you see that entity reference to that ECK entity type within here. So then this is also using inline entity form to make it sort of paragraphs-y, like, so yeah, you can reorder these, you can duplicate them, you can remove. So that's all because of inline entity form. So essentially, inline entity form in combo with ECK sort of gives you what you kind of have with paragraphs. The only difference is with ECK entities, they can be reused very easily out of the box. So, and they can be duplicated as well. So there is, it's kind of a fine line. You have to kind of, figure it out what you want to do with that.
All right. I don't think we have any more questions, although I have one, which is just in general, are there any things that we should think about as far as incompatibility or versions of Drupal or versions of modules that that we should just be aware of, like having any issues or anything like that? 'Cause there's a lot of modules involved, so undoubtedly there's probably some patches or anything like that that we might need to keep in mind.
Yeah, for sure. Let me take a look here at my composer file. Let's see what. Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. So let me share again because I think this is worth a look. Okay. So here's my. I'm just going to close that down. Okay. So here's my composer file. I think I can make this a little bigger. All right, so we have layout library. I have 3 patches. This last patch is really good because it allows you to change the name of the layout library item, which you couldn't before. So that's really nice. There's another patch here. Add the content preview option to layout editing. So these all come in handy. Here's that patch. If you want to do paragraphs in Layout Builder, you probably want to do this patch as well. We found that this one really came in handy. And I'm trying to think if any of these core patches, I don't think these are necessarily related to Layout Builder, but definitely the layout library, the paragraphs patch, and I'm trying to think what else. I think that's it. Oh, the other thing is you'll want to be aware of with Layout Builder is because the Layout Builder UI picks up the front end theme, you'll want to be aware of any potential conflicts between your front end theme and the Layout Builder UI. For example, let's say you have a button or a link that's styled a certain way. You may not necessarily want it styled that way in the Layout Builder UI in terms of a functional type thing. In other words, not your content, but let's say an operations button or a link or something like that. So that is definitely something you'd want to be aware of for sure.
That's great. That's helpful because sometimes it takes a long time for people to figure out what's going on or they think something's wrong with the way they got it set up. And I can second that paragraphs patch. That's an oldie, but a goodie.
Yeah.
Let's see, there was another question in chat, which I'll just repeat for the sake of everyone else on the webinar. Let's see. Question is, are blocks added to one layout page? Can they be reused in another?
Yes. There's an asterisk with that. There's actually a patch that allows for blocks to be reused. So in other words, the patch adds a little checkbox with the inline block and it says, allow this block to be reused. So you check that box and then that can be reused anywhere you want in Layout Builder, which is kind of cool. But you might want some governance around that because if you're literally reusing the same block without altering it, you could end up with some duplicated content. But it definitely looks like an interesting patch. I guess I guess, think it's a core patch. I tried it out, and it's interesting. I actually got rid of the patch for this demo because I wanted it to kind of be more straightforward. But that is definitely something that's interesting.
Gotcha. I think that's all the questions. Anyone else have any questions, please add them to the Q&A section. I'm not seeing anyone post anything. I think we're good. Leslie, do you have any final comments?
No, I just wanted to thank Danny for taking all the time to get this ready for presenting and for the great presentation. Very helpful. A lot of great tips, a lot of great information that you shared with the community. This will be, this has been recorded for those who may have, folks in their organizations. I know people that weren't able to come see Danny today will be added to the Design for Drupal YouTube channel. So feel free to share that out. And if there aren't any other questions, we look forward to seeing everybody back here middle of November for our next Design for Drupal webinar. Thank you, Danny.
Thanks,
Okay.
Danny. Thanks, everybody.
Thanks a lot, everyone.
See you next time.
All right,
Okay.
bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.